I recently published a video talking about breaking down limiting beliefs, and today in this video I want to continue this conversation a little bit on the topic of money, and more specifically on the topic of money while building a business, and of course also trying to become somewhat successful and building a life that I feel proud about. Now, of course, the topic of money is a topic that kind of encompasses all of us, but at the same time we all have such vastly different experiences with it. Some of us just come into this world with vast amounts of money based on their parents or their grandparents. Maybe there's an inheritance somewhere along the way. Then we have people who grew up with nothing but then built something of fortune. And then we have people who struggle their whole life to get enough money together to actually feel somewhat accomplished or happy. Now, of course, that also brings up this whole topic whether or not money actually brings happiness, or if there are more important aspects to life than money. However, at this point, I've heard many times over that there has been some kind of a study done that kind of found out or tried to answer this question, like how much money do you need per year to feel maximum or peak happiness? And that amount was about 75,000 US dollars. Now, granted, again, that number has to be looked at in certain different areas differently because, of course, in some parts of the world, 75,000 is tons of money. And then in some other parts or cities, depending on where you want to live, 75,000 might not amount to much at all. Overall, we can say that, of course, there will be some place where you will experience peak happiness with money. And yes, money can, in some ways, bring happiness because struggling to, for example, keep the lights on and keep your apartment or have a big enough apartment to live comfortably and those kind of things, obviously, it would be much easier to just have a certain amount of money and be set in that way. Now, why is the topic of money specifically interesting to me, and especially in the context of business building? And that is because I'm somewhat trying to shift my mindset around money. I have some parts in me that definitely know and feel that with more money, I could do more, and I could achieve more, and I could feel lighter in some way. I could feel like I have the freedom to do certain things differently in my life. For example, growing my monthly income would at some point also mean that maybe I can take some time off, or maybe I can invest into some free time activities, which would also mean that I could establish some hobbies again. Now, of course, you could say that hobbies don't have to cost any money. However, if you level down so much that even the money that you need for a bus or the gas that you need to get to a place where you then can do a free hike would be an issue, I think that's one of those places where having a little more money to have the freedom to just do that activity, even if it is a cheap activity, all things considered, there's way more expensive activities than going for a hike. But when it's that hard or when it's that low, I think that becomes a real struggle. And I can say from my own personal experience, I have been at that point, and I'm not necessarily very far away at this point where I am right now. Now, of course, you could say the shiny objects that I have in my kit, I have expensive gear, but that again brings this whole issue that I am currently constantly investing into my business, into the quality of work that I can produce, the amount of work that I can produce. However, at the end of the day, I am still struggling to have consistent income and enough of it so that the life around the business is also enjoyable. And that brings me to the rethinking of the mindset of money for me and how I want to shift things, and I want to change how I see the opportunities that money can give. Because of course, I don't think that money is bad or inherently evil. I think that with money, you can do so much more. You can provide people with jobs, for example, which in turn helps you become a better business or a bigger business. And in turn, you might actually end up making more money because you are able to impact even more people. So it's like you're starting this snowball effect once you actually reach a certain level of success, that you can then start branching out, outsourcing, and getting in with help and investing in that kind of way. Investing into the gear, but also into the people. And of course, at some point, when you reach certain levels of success, you can even go as far as to also make bigger donations or possible donations. However, this once more brings me into this situation where then I have to think about how much is enough, how much is too much. Am I asking for too much, and am I even allowed to ask for that much? And with those considerations, not just those are the problem, but then we have that aspect to ask, am I worthy that much? Is my knowledge, my information, is the skill that I have worth as much as I am asking for it? And am I allowed to charge that amount? But then it doesn't even stop there, because that question actually goes one step further, where you start to wonder, if I charge too much, am I going to have enough clients? Because of course, 10 clients who pay less are better than 3 clients who pay more, but at the end of the day, you will not have enough. And I know that I have seen enough resources where basically the information was, if you charge more, you will get the clients that you deserve that want your service. And also, if you charge more, you can give those fewer clients more attention. You can provide a better service because you have more time to actually make the product, the service, a good experience. So there are all these very good reasons to actually charge more. But there are also many doubts, or at least in my mind, there have been many doubts in the back of my mind to say, you're not enough, you're not good enough to charge this much. What if those clients stop working with you, or those clients don't even start working with you because you are starting to charge so much? And by extension, who will ever work with me if then those people think that I'm not worthy? And there's like this thought in the back of my head which always says, like, if that one person decides not to work with me, then nobody ever will want to work with me, which is obviously not true. Now, all of this brings me back to this now, the situation where I'm in right now. And that is a space where I feel I am trying to liberate myself from a lot of these thoughts and these burdens and these limiting beliefs around the topic of money and charging more or charging less, having more clients, having less clients, having success and building something of value, but also successful, which in return gives me a monetary return onto my investments of time and money and effort over the last few years. And I can only hope that you will find that too. Now, I'm trying to figure out what my turning points are and where I have to adjust and change and figure out how I can move forward from here to then also maybe package this in some way and bring it out into a video to share with you. Now, all I can say right now is that I wish I had more personal connections of people that are happy to talk about money and also are successful and happy to share those stories around that. And of course, there are podcasts and videos on YouTube that are that. However, there is still this distance between the screen and myself. And then, of course, also sometimes maybe even the real life people around me who are like, well, there's just this one Mark Zuckerberg and like it's really lucky to get to that place. And all I can think in the back of my head is I don't need to go to that level of Mark Zuckerberg. And there are tons of people in between that and even just getting a little bit more success. So finding those people in real life to connect with, that's one of the challenges that I am currently facing. And in the meantime, as long as I don't have that, I think connecting with or sorting through the connections or content that I consume on a regular basis, be it on Instagram, be it on YouTube, or the podcasts and books that I read and listen, all of those, and curating that and being very mindful about what I choose to consume and whose opinions I allow to get in. I think that that's one of the main aspects and most important aspects in all of this. But at the same time, also trying to stay grounded and stay with my values and understand that sometimes I might have to listen to someone who stretches my imagination into areas where I would personally not necessarily want to go, but knowing that there are people out there who are going there makes it so that I can see better and clearer what the options are without automatically having those barriers left and right, so I can't look anywhere, and just basically shattering those opening up my eyes, my field of view, so that I can see way more ideas around me, lifestyles and choices that people make, knowing that they're okay, they're not going to be ostracized from the whole of society, and just knowing that I will be okay as well in that process. Now, if you find any value in this, if you find this inspiring or bringing up any questions in yourself, please feel free to connect with me in the comment section down below or on my Discord server. That door is always open and we can see how we can connect there and maybe even set up some kind of a call on the Discord server. And I'm looking forward to sharing more of these thought experiments, these ideas that I have around my head and that I'm exploring. And I hope that I can make this more concise in the future to bring this to you. But right now, I feel it's incredibly important to also document sometimes my salad in my head and just share that story and that path also, and not just share once I'm there. I appreciate when people do share their pathway that they've taken. But the problem that I always see or often see is that they share it with the hindsight vision, which means that they already know what happened and what led them there and how they went where they went. And right now, I don't know many of those answers. And I am trying to explore those things. And that's why I am sharing this here. That's why I'm trying to connect, try to get to know what you're struggling with, sharing what I'm struggling with, so that maybe somehow we can kind of form something that is valuable, beautiful, and successful of some sorts. So with all that said, I hope this was inspiring to you in some kind of way. I hope you have an amazing day, make it your life, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao!